In the morning sun where the flowers bloom, colors burst like a painter's dream come true. Roses red and violets blue, every petal whispers something new. From tiny seeds to trees so grand, every leaf and bird, it's all at hand. Hello, hello plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello plant, in every shade and hue, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you. Indoor greens and outdoor scenes, design your space, let your garden dreams glide. Personal touch with our garden design, free sessions to blend within your budget line. From tiny seeds to trees so grand, every leaf and bird, it's all at hand. Hello, hello plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello plant, in every shade and hue, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you. Now everybody, let's say hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello plant, in every shade and hue, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you. Indoor greens and outdoor scenes, design your space, let your garden dreams glide. Personal touch with our garden design, free sessions to blend within your budget line. From tiny seeds to trees so grand, every leaf and bird, it's all at hand. Hello, hello plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello plant, in every shade and hue, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you. Now everybody, let's say hello, 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 hello plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello plant, in every shade and hue, for every heart and every hand, we've got something for you. Now everybody, let's say hello, 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 hello plant, welcome to the show, where every flower tells a story. Watch them grow. Hello, hello plant, in every shade and hue.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Welcome to our gardening Q&A. And I've got Jody here today. Hi, Jody.
Hello, hello.
Yeah. So Jody's going to be helping us today. And Jody's great because she's a trained horticulturalist and landscape architect, so she can really contribute a lot to what we're doing today.
Can do. All right, so we have already got a lot of questions in the chat waiting for us. So we're going to rip through these today.
Yep.
So first up, we're on YouTube. Jerry has left a comment here, or a question. Good morning. Looking forward to the chat. My question is about fruit trees. Which ones won't produce runner roots and send shoots everywhere in the yard? Looking for options to plant near pipes. And also looking for trees that will improve property value long term and will be easy to maintain for a west-facing yard. Okay,
so it's funny how, as you said, different requirements there, I started eliminating different types of plants. And I was thinking even your cherries can sucker quite ferociously. And what I came down to is the absolute safest one for you is your citrus, and luckily there's lots of different types of citrus. You've got your lemons, your limes, I've never seen citrus suckering ferociously. So and they'll be happy in that west facing position. The main thing with citrus though is that they like to have really rich soil conditions, plenty of fertilizer, plenty of compost, plenty of moisture, good drainage. They kind of like the works, but they don't sucker, and they're a very attractive sort of tree, so that they're the sort of thing that would also improve your property value. So as you listed those different requirements, gradually you reduced me down to thinking about citrus trees.
Okay, beautiful. Now we're over to Instagram. Kai Bedolia, g'day. What shrubs go well with a weeping Japanese maple?
Sorry, I missed that.
Yeah. So Kai Bedolia is on Instagram and has asked, I said g'day.
G'day.
What shrubs go well go well with a weeping Japanese maple?
Okay. If I was doing a purple weeping Japanese maple, I like something that contrasts, and I would love the kaleidoscopobelia, and that's lovely bright golden, a beautiful bright golden foliage that sort of changes shades through the year, and it clips well into a nice neat little ball. So it'll look, or you can have it a bit looser, but it clips really, really nicely. But what you'll find is that that's going to contrast beautifully with your deep red Japanese maple. But then on the other hand, we've got lots of lovely soft green and yellowy green Japanese maples, and what you could use there is you could use a plum gorgeous with that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And I think with when we do Japanese gardens regularly, because we do get asked to do a lot of Japanese gardens.
Excuse me for one second. Sanjana, this lady here needs attending to. No one will attend to her? Right, thank you.
See, customer service is our
main
priority here. Okay, so when we're doing garden designs and people ask us to put together a Japanese style of garden, what other plants do you go to for a bit of colour?
Okay, so I love when I do my Zen gardens or my Japanese gardens, my favourite plants are so I like to use 1 or 2 Japanese maples, and I'll normally use one with purple foliage and one with sort of lemony green foliage. And then my favourite plants to use with that are your plum gorgeous, beautiful purple foliage, and that's nice to use with if you use that with your greeny sort of Japanese maple, and then with your purpley Japanese maple I'll use like the kaleidoscope with lovely golden foliage, and then I'll also use something like the licorice, which has lovely silver foliage, and all of those three can be cut into clumps. And then your lime lava or your scleranthus or lime lava makes a beautiful round green mossy mounds, looks absolutely fabulous. And then black mondo with the lime lava, and then around the rest of the garden I'll throw in I love the stripy white liriab with its green and white stripes, and that combination, and in fact I wonder if you could put that combination up so people could see it.
That might be a bit challenging for us to do on this format.
Yeah, but you could make some sort of link or something that people could go and look at.
We'll see what we can do throughout the chat.
Yeah, so that combination, so that would be a wonderful combination with Japanese maples and with a Japanese style garden.
All right. So, Harvinder has popped into the chat on TikTok and has said, hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Quick question, how can I get more fruit from my tomatoes?
Right, okay, so I think it all starts off with planting your tomatoes. And what you want is you want deep, well-drained soil that's really, really fertile. So you can use lots of fertilizer, lots of compost, and dig a big hole and mix a bit of potting mix or something like that through, or even mound it up. But what tomatoes love is they like lots of nice loose soil underneath them, plenty of water and plenty of fertilizer, and then stake it. And then if you're planting for a big crop, your tomato, if your tomato goes berserk and produces heaps of tomatoes, then what you need to be doing is staking the tomato so that it can hang on to that big crop. But plenty of soil under your tomato, plenty of fertility, plenty of moisture, plenty of good drainage.
Yeah. And also making sure that you do tie your tomato to your stakes so that they don't fall over and go everywhere.
What do you use to tie your tomatoes up?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked me this question. I think you'll be thrilled that you asked. So what we use in our household are scrabbies. Do you know what a scrabby is,
No.
Chris? All right, so you know when you've got an old t-shirt or an old pair of underpants, you know, the stretchy cotton types?
Yep.
Well, when they're done, they don't just go in the bin. We cut them into long strips and we use those because at the end of each season we can throw them in the bin, and we can feel good about throwing them in the bin because they've had many, many uses.
And they'd be nice and soft and they won't damage the stems.
That's right,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
they
scrabbies, which is strips of waste cloth, it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because each season we have different coloured ties depending on what's come to the end of the life in the wardrobe.
Right, yeah. So scrabby is a great way to tie up your tomatoes.
I'm very happy to pass on that term to everybody, scrabby.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if anybody has read The Meaning of Life. It's a great book, and that was one of the terms from it that stuck with us. All right, so For Princess is on TikTok. Hello, hello. What soil should we plant coriander in? Compost or potting mix?
I've done great with coriander, and I like to do a 50-50 mix, potting mix and compost.
Yeah.
And then I'll chuck in a bit of osmocote or something like that as well. So plenty of nutrients, plenty of richness, plenty of nice, loose, good drainage.
And I find that the hotter and drier that it is, the quicker that stuff is to bolt.
Yeah.
So if you can put it in a less sunny position or a position where it's more in the morning sun than the afternoon sun, I tend to get longer life.
Yeah, that's a really good hint. I guess the hot sun must overstimulate it and bring it sexually mature younger.
It does, yes, because it starts to think, hang on a second, I might be about to die here, I better get some offspring.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so Tegan has joined us on Instagram and has asked, what is a fast growing hedge for rural New South Wales? Frost tolerant and heat tolerant.
Hi Tegan. First thing that comes to mind is Vetinia robusta, frost and heat, and very, very fast. With the Vetinia, what you do is you pump it the secret to getting fast growth with your Vetinia is to cultivate around it and have no grass or weeds, or put weed mat and mulch around it, but basically no grass or weeds around the base. Plenty of fertilizer. You can use chicken manure, or you could use something like osmocote, or an NPK type fertilizer. Plenty of fertilizer and heaps of water. And I've seen people grow small plants up to 2 meters tall in 1 year. So very, very fast, heat tolerant and frost tolerant. Another really good one is your Leighton's green cypress. Leighton's green, but if you're in a very dry area, you might do better with Castellan golden cypress. But again, plenty of water, plenty of fertilizer, keep the grass and weeds away, and both of those will grow spectacularly fast and give you a good sort of screen and windbreak.
Excellent. All right. So now Havinga is on TikTok and has agreed, I think, with our comments about the coriander and the warmth.
Yep.
Like, the heat and the sun, and also probably about your potting mix and compost mix.
Yeah.
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 Okay. So Johnny Noxious, as a possum, I'm more for coriander in the garden. I like that. I love coriander. Do you like coriander?
Yeah, I love coriander.
I
Yeah.
think you either love it or loathe it.
Well, that's actually, there's people, they reckon that there's a whole like group of the population that hate the flavour, and then the other group is absolutely addicted to it. I love making, and I'll do it with fish and all sorts of things. I love making a hot salsa, and the most important ingredient is the coriander.
Yeah, beautiful. I think too, I don't know if people are saving their coriander seeds, but if your coriander bolts and goes to seed, if you pull the seeds, the little ball seeds off while they're green, they're absolutely fabulous to use in your dishes.
Really? Wow.
You don't have to wait till they're dry to use them.
Right.
If you use them at that green stage, they're great for pickling, or if you're making curries and things, you get them into that.
Right, so you don't have to be too sad when it bolts.
That's right, yeah. Okay, so 121221 is on TikTok, and it says, my teddy bear magnolias have brown leaves and a couple have not grown. What do I do?
Really, you've got to work out what's going wrong. If the leaves are brown all over, that would indicate some sort of stress. Now and what it is, it's raining, and if you're in Victoria, it's raining, and it's beautiful situation. But up until about 6 weeks ago, we were in one of the worst droughts that we've had, where we had extreme dryness from end of last November right through till sort of end of August, and it's likely that I'm really guessing here, but it's likely that in that long dry period, you had dryness stress, and that would cause brown leaves. So right now, what you do is you'd cultivate around the base of them. You'd make sure you keep them nice and moist. You give them a good dose of fertiliser. Osmocote would be great for them. A bit of chicken manure would be another alternative, but or even cow. I noticed magnolias love cow manure. But so plenty of fertiliser as we go into summer. Make sure they're well watered, and get them growing, and then make sure they don't get stressed if we have a dry period this summer.
All right, lovely. Okay, so back to YouTube. Cece has asked, will a lemon myrtle like it on my veranda where it's shaded?
I reckon it would be okay to grow one in the shade on the veranda.
I actually think lemon myrtle is an understory plant.
Yeah,
Forest
yeah,
plant.
I think that would be fine. Well watered, well fertilised, it should be fine. Yeah.
As long as it's not too dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's got the water it needs. Okay, now Cece also asks, have you got a fast-growing, thinner cedar hedge like pencil pines, and how good are they with strong winds?
Okay, so Glauca pencil pine, fabulous with strong winds, very, very fast growing, well looked after. They grow well over 1 metre a year, and they grow quite tall. They'll grow 7, 8, 9 metres tall, so really great for that sort of situation. But if you wanted something that was a little bit shorter and fatter, so you used less of them and they didn't get quite as high, the Spartan conifer gives you that tall, slim hedge, not quite as slim as a Glauca pencil pine, but not quite as fast growing and not quite as tall. But it gives you that's your alternative. And the Glauca pencil, the Spartan has absolutely no balls on it at all, so it's a lot of people don't like to look at the balls on their pencil pine. So the Spartan, and I call it your fat pencil pine. It'll end up, if you don't trim it, it trims, and you can trim the sides, trim the top, trim whatever you want. It trims really, really well. And I was in a garden the other day where he's had them in for years and years and years, and he's got his Spartans trimmed off to 1 metre. So you really can keep your Spartan conifers small. So Spartan conifers trim really, really well. So people often use them as subjects for topiary and things like that. So your Spartan is your alternative to your Glauca pencil pine if you're wanting, say, no balls. If you want it's something that's a wee bit tougher, something that's a wee bit fatter and not quite as tall.
Brilliant. Very helpful. Now, Chris, I'm sitting here with Mickey, who is a very clever cookie, and she's got one of our mood boards, our Japanese mood boards that are up. We've had a couple of questions, SWAT Cat on Instagram, and a couple of other people have asked about Japanese gardens. So Mickey has got a screenshot of one of our typical Japanese gardens that she's put it up on the screen for us.
Great.
So we can't see you for the minute, but we can certainly see the mood board. So we can see the Helichrysum licorice, the Acer Senkaki with its beautiful red stems and green leaves, the Loropetalum plum gorgeous with its beautiful plum-coloured foliage, which is actually quite tough, isn't it? Yeah, it's quite tough. Inaba Shidare, which is one of the most beautiful weeping.
And also, do you know, Inaba Shidare, in the hottest conditions, if that's properly watered and that, doesn't sunburn. Like some Japanese maples get little burnt edges on them in on a 40-degree day.
Yep.
Inaba Shidare, properly watered, can take the heat. It's a faster grower and takes the heat and sun better than any other weeping Japanese maple, and better than most other Japanese maples. Like, we've got 50 different sorts of Japanese maple here.
Oh, yeah.
And Inaba Shidare is one of the hardiest of the lot.
It's a very handsome tree.
Yeah, and great lot of colour, spring, summer and autumn, beautiful colour.
And at the on the bottom row, we've got the Abelia kaleidoscope, which is something we use quite often.
Yeah, I reckon I must use that in 1 in 4 garden designs, don't you?
Oh, I think you do, because it's very versatile. It's got great colour.
Yeah, and you can keep it bushy and nice, and you can keep it quite small.
Yes, yeah. The black mondo grass for a Japanese style garden.
Yeah. And when I'm doing my Japanese style garden, I love the contrast of the lime lava with the mondo grass. And your lime lava is a beautiful moundy moss sort of a plant that loves the sun. And that's a hard thing to find, because lots of those mossy, moundy sort of things like that frizzle up in the sun. So your lime lava, but what you've got to do with your lime lava is dig a nice big hole and mix plenty of potting mix through it and give it really good drainage.
Yes, because it does love that potting mix environment, doesn't it?
It does, and it hates being popped in a hole full of clay where it's got poor drainage. It'll turn brown and frizzle up.
Yes, and the Liriope stripy white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stripy white, it has white flowers, it has a green and white leaf, and I love it for its brightness, and so I'll often put that in the all around the back of my Japanese gardens, just to give off that bit of low brightness.
Yeah, it does brighten up underneath things, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and now if you had slightly different conditions, slightly more hot and sunny, then the Liriope stripy white we might swap out for Lamandra white sands.
Yes, that's right.
Drier.
Yeah, and that'll give you the same look, but with much more of a sun lover.
That's right. And with the lime lava, if it was a more boggy site, then we might instead go for like a lemon lime sagina, the Irish moss. Yeah. Yeah. So I hope that's been pretty helpful.
Yeah, that what you see there is kind of the base that I use for a lot of my Japanese gardens, and so anybody could use that base there and make a Japanese garden, and there's things you could add or subtract, but it's a great base, it's a great starting point for a Japanese garden.
Yeah, and it's been a really handy tool for us, because it helps to convey to our customers when they come in for a garden design what you could expect to see in your garden if you're going to end up with a Japanese garden from us. So all right, well, and Cece says that sounds perfect, and Cece's asking, can I have a deal?
Sure,
deal.
No worries.
Come in and see us.
There's nothing I like better than doing a deal.
Now, if you want any of the plants that you're seeing on the board here, you can contact us on our phone line, which is 039359 331. We are in Victoria. Or you can get us you can find these plants online, or and if you're not going to buy them online, you could get in touch with us through our sales, through our email, and that's sales@ helloplants with an S on the end .com.au, and we can rustle up a Japanese garden for you.
Yeah, love to.
All right, okay, back to the questions. So now Preet is back, was talking to us last week about the Yuma crepe myrtle, and I've just taken a quick photo and sent this through to our orders team, because Preet has Preeti, I think it is looking for a Yuma, which was
Right,
quite
yeah.
an unusual
Yes,
and,
that's right.
and hard to find one. But we did track one down last week.
Yeah, but I think that she wants a smaller one, doesn't she?
Smaller one, yes, yes. So we'll see what's available. And I see you've sent an email, so we'll make sure the team gets back to you today. All right, beautiful. Moving on. What else have we got in the chat? We'll go over to TikTok. Oh my gosh, we got a lot of. Oh my goodness, we got a lot of stuff going on in TikTok. We've got quite a lot of love for coriander here, which I'm very happy to see. Let me see. Yes, so the teddy bear magnolias, Chris, they were sunburnt.
Right.
Yeah. Now it says here. So Snowboy 37 is saying it never rains in Victoria. It pours, and if yesterday was anything to go by, that's definitely true.
That's right. It seems to be that we have long dry periods and then we have long wet periods.
Yeah, it's like the extremes. We get the extremes
Yeah.
here. All right, so Jay is on TikTok and has said, I've used potting mix for orchids in a pot with drainage, watered once a week, but the roots have rotted. What could be done to mitigate that in the next attempt?
I used to make my own orchid mix, and what I do, I was living out in the country at the time, is where somebody had sort of half burnt some big logs or a fallen tree, I'd get that lovely chunky charcoal, and then I'd mix half chunky charcoal with half good quality potting mix, and use plenty of osmocote, and I never had a problem. And I would have watered more than once a week.
Yeah,
I would have watered a couple of times a week. But when I was in Vietnam, orchids, like when you get out in the villages in the countryside in Vietnam, orchids are super duper popular, and they make pots, and the pots are covered in holes about that big. All over, they have holes all over. I often thought of importing them to Australia. Wonderful pots, and so I think drainage is really important with your orchids, and so plenty of drainage. I would have watered more than once a week, and the charcoal made beautiful big lumps, and I think the big lumps are important for drainage.
The other thing that the charcoal is really good for is that all your beneficial microbes actually do like to take shelter in the charcoal, because the charcoal's quite porous.
Right.
And also charcoal can hold a little bit of water in its pores.
Yeah.
Another thing that I find with my mixes that I use is pumice, because it's very porous. It might be scoria in your part of the world. I use those, those expanded clay balls that they use for hydroponics.
Yep.
I actually put that in my orchid potting mixes.
Right.
Yeah, because they break down over time very, very slowly, but as they're breaking down, the minerals become available to the orchids.
Right.
And yeah, you're right, big chunky bits of bark, and I think also when you're like, if you've got, I think a lot of people do tend to have, those pots that don't have holes in the bottom.
Yep.
And even if they do have holes in the bottom, there's still a lot of moisture can sit in the bottom. So if you take the plastic pot out, and this is what I do with all of my pots when I water them, I take them all out and I put it in, I've got a spare bath. I don't use it.
Yep.
It's too shallow, so we never use it. But I put all the plants in the bath, and I do all of my watering there, so I know everything gets really well watered. But I leave it there so it's all drained out before they go back in their pots. And we
that's
never
a great
have
idea.
never have wet feet or rotting. So I hope that's helpful. All right. What have we got on here? Can I prune my English boxes now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Now's a good time, particularly if you wanted to do a bit of a hard prune, because if you prune them hard in the heat of summer, you might easily get some sunburn on the leaves that are in the shade. But at the moment, while the weather's mild, it's a good time to cut a bit hard into them.
Yeah. And that's what they do need, that, don't they?
Yeah.
They do need a good hard cut.
Yeah, and it's important not to do that at a time where I've seen people chop English box hedges really hard in the heat of summer, have a couple of really hot days afterwards and have them turn black.
Now, on this topic of pruning hedges like box, should we have a little bit of a discussion about batter and having a little bit of a batter on your box hedge or on your hedge, so that the sun can reach the leaves at the base of your hedge?
Yes, that is a really, really good idea. What it is that if you cut your hedge narrower at the top and wider at the bottom, the sun gets down to the bottom, and it helps the bottom of the hedge become more and more bushy. And when you cut them vertically, you're putting the bottom in the shade more, and then you're causing it to be less luscious and less foliated. And the other thing that I once visited a tea farm, a mechanically harvested tea farm. It was in North Queensland, and I saw something that really interested me. And what it is that they have these machines that run over the top of the tea, and they don't want any of the wood in there. They don't want woody bits in their tea, and they can't hand sort it because they're dealing with tons and tons of it. So what they do is that they get that, and this is relevant to you cutting your hedges. You see a lot of hedges that are kind of bony and mean looking, and I really learnt this from watching and talking to the tea farmer. What he does is each spring he cuts his tea bushes down to about 35 centimetres in height. And then what he does is he lifts his machine up about an inch, and when the new shoots come, he goes over the top of it, and that way he doesn't get any of the old material, only gets fresh new material. And then he cuts every 2 weeks right through the summer. And what he does is every time he cuts, he lifts up his machine by an inch. And so what happens is that he's with this hard cut at the beginning of spring, the hedge looks destroyed and bony and terrible. And if people were to cut in a sort of like an inward sloping shape like that, and then they were to follow up, if you start off by cutting your hedge hard, like what most people do wrong is they cut their hedge they cut it always to the same spot, and that's how you get that hard, bony, woody look with all woody lumps and everything like that. And lots of the old hedges in Melbourne look hard and bony and woody. But if you were to get your hedge and you started off, say, end of August, beginning of September, and you cut your hedge back really hard, and it might look terrible, it might look woody and bony and terrible, right? And then what you do with each cut, you just come out, maybe 1 or 2 centimetres, you come out a little bit, and you leave a little bit of fat on there, so that by the end of the season you've got a beautiful luscious hedge. You go through winter, instead of having it all bony and terrible, it looks luscious and beautiful, then you go for that hard cut at the end of winter, beginning of spring, and then repeat the process, just like the tea farmer who brought his tea down to here, then with the 10 or 12 cuts through summer, he would raise it an inch like that every time.
Excellent. This is just such important information for people to know, because if they don't teach us how to prune a hedge when we go to school.
Yeah,
that's something
right,
we've got to learn from life, and so it's good to have these questions asked. All right, beautiful. Look, now we've had quite a lot of people who have been saying, they really like the look of the plants on the Japanese board that we put up, and a couple of people have said, I can't see it, and that's so it's actually on Facebook and YouTube Live where that popped up. So if you didn't get to see that, when we're finished here with this live stream today, we're actually going to be putting that onto YouTube later. So if you head to YouTube a little bit later today, you'll be able to see that slide, probably at about I would guess about the 10-minute mark.
Right.
Okay, so now heading over to Instagram, Danny Feldew, what are some ideas for tall screening plants along the boundary in a cottage style garden, like pencil pine conifers, but they don't really suit the style of garden that she has?
They don't, do they? So something that's a little bit hard to get is, and makes a lovely tall hedge and great for a cottage garden, is Escallonia macranthera.
Okay.
I do have it from time to time. Now, Escallonia macranthera, lovely dark green foliage, a tall growing hedge with beautiful rich pink flowers that flowers for 5 or 6 months of the year, and it's got that sort of nice, loose, relaxed look that it looks good in a cottage garden. And now another possibility, I just had a guy just before, he bought 75 And he's got a lovely cottage up in the hills, and he wanted a nice flowering cottage hedge up in the Dandenongs. And we did Sasanqua camellia, pure silk. Now, pure silk's one of my favourite, beautiful fine foliage, and a fabulous pink bud followed by a pale pink flower that then turns white, and you end up, when it's in full flower in spring, you've got dark pink, light pink and white. I love the mix of those three, and you get that back with lovely fine foliage. It's a strong grower. He's going to be growing them up 3 or 4 metres tall, and it's going to be going around a cottage in the hills, and it'll look lovely. So that's that. I know. I'm just thinking, what else would you use for a cottagey hedge that would look good? I guess something like.
I mean, for upright and tall, the sky pencil holly is an option, but which might fit a little bit better with the cottage garden.
Yeah, sky pencil is going to do a lot better than a pencil pine. That's a very good suggestion. Sky pencil, it's a type of Japanese holly that grows in the shape of a pencil pine, but because it's got a nice shiny glossy leaf, it looks much more alive, much more sort of friendly than your pencil pine. Pencil pines always look a bit dry and mean to me, like compared, they're not. I like them, and I think they're very practical and useful plants, but they're not something that I really love to look at.
Fair enough too. All right, so but on Instagram, Just Kate Things. Hi Chris, my Muhlenbeckia maidenhair creeper. Some stems are going yellow and crispy. What am I doing wrong?
Muhlenbeckia is almost a weed. I think you should be able to do at least 5 things wrong simultaneously to your Muhlenbeckia and have it thrive.
Yes.
So I think get rid of any grass or weed competition. Put some fertiliser on, like some Osmocote or something like that, maybe a little bit of sea salt to brighten it up, and make sure it's well watered, and it should be fine.
I'm just wondering, the yellowness, I'm wondering if maybe that's a sign of like lack of oxygen, or maybe the soil's a bit boggy perhaps.
That could be a possibility, couldn't it? Yeah. So just wet feet won't kill it, but it will slow it down and make it a bit miserable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think just persist.
Yeah, I think persist, but look at wet feet. Make sure it's got plenty of moisture. Get grass and weeds away from the bottom, and fertilise it.
Excellent. Now, just a quick reminder to everybody: when you're asking your questions, really helpful to us if you could let us know roughly where you are in the world, and that will help us to make our answers more specific. Okay, so. On Instagram, we've got a question here. I've got a spot in my backyard, 2 meters by 1.5 meters, and I'm unsure what to put there. Do you have any suggestions? So 2 meters tall by 1.5 meters wide by the look of it.
Well, there's a lot of, it depends whether it's in the sun or shade, but let's imagine we're in the sun. Something I'm really loving at the moment is pink al. Now, pink al is an escallonia, and it has a beautiful bright pink flower, and it flowers for about 5 months of the year. Lovely dark green glossy foliage, doesn't grow too big, and if you were to plant, and we're 1.5 meters wide, if you were to plant a row of pink al at the back, Google and have a look at, really wonderful plant. And then if you were to put catmint in front, you would have, there's nothing like the combo of pink and blue, is there? A lovely soft pink and a nice mid blue, absolutely fabulous. So if you put a row of catmint in front, and if you were 2 meters long, you might do 5 catmints, and then you might do 3 or 4 pink als in the back in a row, and that would give you, in summertime, you'd have endless mid blue flowers and endless sort of beautiful, rich, soft pink flowers in the background, and nice evergreen foliage all year. So that would be a nice combo. But if you're in the shade, you might look at hydrangea or something else.
Okay, beautiful. And I've just put the name of that Escallonia pink al in the chats, so that everybody can find it. And I think you were talking about the Escallonia macrantha before. And so that's just another type of...
Yeah, Escallonia macrantha is probably an ancient relative of the pink al.
Yeah.
But the macrantha has a darker flower and darker foliage, and it's much more vigorous.
All right. So, what if we were talking about in a more shady garden? What would you think about there? 2 meters tall, 1.5 meters wide.
I reckon right at the moment people are loving hydrangeas.
Aha.
And I reckon
Timing,
something like your Sunday phrase.
Yeah.
And if you popped in 2 meters long, if you put 2 Sunday frays at the back, and then what would look good is and they give you beautiful. This time of year, they've got beautiful big conical bunches of white flowers, amazing big bunches of white flowers appearing. And then as we go past Christmas time, they're going to start to turn light pink and get lovely pink tones. And this lovely period where you've got a mixture of white and pink flowers all mixed together. And they're big flowers and they have lots and lots of flowers. In fact, the Sunday phrase is the most sought after of all of your paniculata hydrangeas. And if you like that idea, really hot afternoon sun is not that good for them, but really morning sun, midday sun, plenty of water, your Sunday phrase will take it. Now what would look good in front of that is a nice little row of half a dozen snow in summers. Now snow in summer, beautiful silver foliage, 7 days a week all year, and then just in mid-spring through to early summer, sheets of beautiful fine white flowers. And so what happened is that when autumn and winter comes and your hydrangea doesn't look so smart, at least you have that nice little mound of silver foliage in front of it.
Yeah.
So snow in summer with in a more cooler, shady spot. Snow in summer with Sunday phrase hydrangea behind.
Nice one. I like it. Okay, so on the hydrangea topic, Mykonos59 on Instagram has said, hi, do you have any hydrangeas that are flowering? And Mickey's on the ball, because we've got spectacular hydrangeas at the minute.
Yeah. In fact, what we've got at the moment is we've got our hydrangea spectacular.
Oh, look at that.
And we've got over 30 varieties of hydrangea in stock, because what it is some people want hydrangeas in the sun, some people want big hydrangeas, some people want all different coloured hydrangeas, and the need and want for hydrangeas is enormous, but to cover everyone's needs, you need to have lots of different sorts.
Yes.
And so plenty of hydrangea flowers, plenty of hydrangea full stop, and it's one of the things that's keeping us busy at the moment. There's people in all the time selecting through the hydrangeas, and the great thing about having 30 different types of hydrangea is that we'll have that right hydrangea for you.
That's right. And I mean, like I mentioned this last week on our Q&A, I mean, it looks like Mother's Day is, coming up, because it just looks so pretty. And whose mum wouldn't want something like this for Christmas?
Yeah, great idea. Yeah.
All right, beautiful. So I hope
in fact, you should talk about Christmas. Grab one of those beautiful red ones there.
Oh yeah.
And we've got some red ball hydrangea, and those red ball hydrangea, I'm thinking people, no, the red ball hydrangea, just the bright red over there.
Mickey's doing a bit of exercise during the live stream today, but she's got the goods, and she's making her way back here. Yeah, that's the one.
Now these would make, have a look at this here. You could buy these and you could put them inside for Christmas. Put them on the dining table, put them on the coffee table, there they are there. Put them on the dining table, put them on the coffee table. Really enjoy those bright red flowers. They'd give you that lovely Christmas feel. And then after Christmas you could pop them out in the garden. So there we are. And then for a bit more red, for a bit more red, you've got your poinsettias. We've got those in stock at the moment now.
I mean, isn't that just the quintessential Christmas plant?
It certainly is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you put a couple of these in the house. If you had a nice basket, you put 2 or 3 of them together in a nice basket, they'd look beautiful.
It'd be nice to just pop them all over the place,
Yeah.
All right, so we've got those in stock in big numbers at the minute. So if you're liking the look of that, then get down to 14. What are we?
1477 Sydney Road, Campbellfield.
That's the one. So we're in Campbellfield because we have had some questions in here, and
a lot of people. Campbellfield is kind of a very old industrial estate that not many people would know very well in Melbourne. But we're about 10 minutes from Tullamarine Airport, and a lot of our customers actually dropping somebody at the airport and pop in on the way back, or vice versa, or on their way back from somewhere, will pop in on their way home from wherever their trip was. So we get lots of people tying us in, coming down from Benalla or Echuca or somewhere like that, and then buying some plants on their way back from the airport.
And boy, howdy, people come here from all over. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
some of the distances some people travel. I mean, we did a garden design with a lady who was quite regional, and actually she's across the border in New South Wales, but she's she comes down here to get her plants. So
Yeah. Well, what it is we do garden designs, and we also carry, like if you go on our website, there's 15,000 different sorts of plants listed there in terms of size, price and variety. So we carry really the biggest range of retail plants of any nursery in Australia, really. So the biggest range of plants, and then we've got our free delivery service over half of Victoria. So lots and lots of free delivery, and that combination causes us to really be a Victorian nursery, but we do get the odd interstate visitor as well.
Yeah. Yep.
I think we did a whole garden for a chap in Adelaide not so long ago.
Oh, we did. Amazing. Shout out to Harry.
Yeah.
I really hope his garden's coming along nicely. He's selling his place, and it's going to look absolutely mint. We sent a couple of pallets across to him over there.
Yes, that's right.
Best wishes to you, Harry, if you're out there. Okay, so Polecat is on Instagram and says they want the best tips to avoid my variety of rosebush leaves to stop going yellow. So it sounds like maybe a bit of wet feet there.
Going yellow at this time of year could be sodden, it could be wet feet. And so wet feet, what I'd be doing is I'd be digging a hole down beside the root system, down nice and deep, and see what the situation is. It could be a situation of wet feet.
Okay, and potentially nitrogen drawdown, perhaps if a bit of too much raw organic matter's gotten into the
That's right. So really there's only two things that could really cause roses to get yellow leaves. One is that if you've got brand new soil that's got a high concentration of sawdust in it, and not enough nitrogen, the sawdust actually can beat the plant. The sawdust, as it decomposes, takes the nitrogen before the plant gets it. And so what happens is that there's no nitrogen there, and then the plant will yellow.
Yeah. All right. So we're back on YouTube. CC has asked a question about the camellia we were talking about before. So CC, FYI, is in Warburton.
Right.
Beautiful part.
I love Warburton.
We used to go camping in Warburton when we were young. And you know what? Now it's in the suburbs. It just blows my mind. Okay, so how fast does the camellia hedge grow?
I'd say in Warburton, well watered and fertilised, good weed control. I reckon you could get, once it was established, I'd say 80 or 90 centimetres a year.
Yeah. All right.
But, and not all camellias, but a good Sasanqua camellia like the Pura Silk that I was talking about.
Yeah. And just as an FYI, CC was very appreciative of the discussion about the, the thinner growing cedar hedge, pencil pine, and really likes the idea of the Spartan and is about to put in an order.
Great. Terrific.
So thank you very much. Okay, now I'll head over to TikTok because I think we've got a few things sitting in here. Okay, so For Princess has asked, what was the name of the nutrient that Chris said to add to the coriander?
I was saying compost. So compost has a range of nutrients in it, and then something like Osmocote would be good, and power feed. Like one thing, a liquid fertilizer is really good, and something like your power feed, which has organic and inorganic NPK in it. Your power feed would be excellent along with some Osmocote.
Okay, excellent. Jane Rhodes has asked, will an Indian mast tree survive in Melbourne?
I've seen the Indian mast tree, and I've seen them in Fiji. I've never actually been to India, but I've never seen them in Australia at all. But I think if I wanted to grow the Indian mast tree, I would be growing it somewhere north of Townsville.
Right. So,
which is kind of like your Fijian climate.
Yes, nice and beautiful and warm, and much better than it is in Melbourne today.
Yeah, so you'd go for that really tropical climate.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So Phil Aussie is on TikTok and has asked Chris if you could talk about the red tree that is sitting behind you.
Right.
Is that an orangeola?
That one there is an Anaba Shadaro.
Oh, that's an Anaba Shadaro, my bad.
So what we've got there is we've got a grafted Anaba Shadaro, and what's interesting is that the Anaba Shadaro is a weeping tree that would naturally just grow flat on the ground. But how the story of it is that, and there's only 6 or 7 people growing them in Victoria, and probably almost nobody growing them outside of Victoria. And most of those guys would live up in the hills, and what they do is they grow Japanese maples from seed, and they plant out the seedlings, and they grow them for 4 or 5 years in the ground. A tree like that was grown for 4 or 5 years in the ground, and it was growing up sort of around about sort of 1.4, 1.5, no, probably grown about 1.8 metres. And then what they did was around Christmas time, they would have cut a little piece it was just a plain green Japanese maple, and they cut a little piece from an Anaba Shadaro, and they cut a little slice in the side, and they grafted on a piece, and they wrapped it up, and that would have been done just around Christmas. And then about a month later, they see if it's taken, and if it's taken, they start to cut the plastic and let air in on the graft. And it's a real art, it's a real art to do, and it really takes quite a few years to learn to do that grafting efficiently, where you can go out and graft 2 or 3 or 400 of them a day. And so then what they do is that then once they see that it's taken, they don't cut the top, they don't cut the green maple off, they cut the green maple back really hard so that the energy of the tree goes into that graft. And then as you go towards winter, that'll grow into a little tiny stick. Mm-hmm. And then what'll happen is that and then they'll often grow that for 2 or 3 years and get a nice bushy head on it. Then last winter or the winter before, they would have dug it up, put it into a pot with some potting mix, and then let it develop a little bit more. So this one here, I would guess that from a seed, that would be 7 years of age. So it's 7 years of age, and then what it's going to do is it's going to grow out into a sort of a beautiful mushroom shape, and it'll eventually cascade down to the ground, and it'll be dark purple in spring, sort of browny red through the summer, and brilliant crimson in the autumn. And in winter, when it gets old, you get that lovely sort of bending branches and curving branches, and they turn into sort of a natural kind of a sculpture that even looks fabulous in the winter. So, and what happens is that they become, they're like a family heirloom. Like you plant one of those in the right spot, you look after it, and how you plant it's really, really important. You want to dig a nice big hole, mix potty mix in it, really choose that spot carefully, and then it'll grow and it'll become bigger and more complex and more amazing. And a really big one of those here in the nursery will sell for $1,500 or $2,000. So, so they're a thing of great value, and it's because not many people know how to. Well, it's not so much that they don't know how to grow them, but also the fact that it takes 7 years from a seed to grow and sell one means that not many people are that patient to do it.
Yes. All right, so I think it's worth mentioning, because we've had a lot of comments about the trees in the background, and I think it's worth mentioning that you got in a hell of a shipment of beautiful maples that are dotted all around the nursery, and it's really great time to come in and have a look at them.
Yeah, what it is that my goal in my nursery is to make, my father was a horticulturalist, and actually my mum was a horticulturalist, and 2 of my brothers were horticulturalists, and I've had a lifetime involved in horticulture, and I like horticulture in the way a lot of people might enjoy surfing, and I love being surrounded by beautiful plants. And I particularly love Japanese maples, and it really fascinates me, the range of Japanese maples on the market. And right now, what I've done is I've done a display of Japanese maples, and I've got Japanese maples. Wow.
Nikki's outside. She's wandering through the Japanese maples.
Yeah. So I've got Japanese maples. I've got them priced from $9.90 up to about $3,000. I've got over 50 different varieties, and some of them in nice small pots so people can afford them. And the idea is that having different varieties of Japanese maple in different colours. And actually, it's a funny thing. I'm looking at one at the moment, and I'll bring it over. It's a beautiful pink one.
Yes, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, that's absolutely fabulous. I'll just bring that over now. But it's really, really wonderful. And so I'd say that we've probably got the biggest range of Japanese maples in store right now. And it's really so people can come in and experience the wonder of the collection of Japanese maples available.
Yep.
I'll just grab that pink one.
All right, so while Chris is wandering around, so Phil Aussie, you asked the question, do you have that red tree in a weeping? That is actually a weeping tree, and it's one of the most beautiful ones that we have. So that's the Inaba Shigare, definitely a weeping maple. Oh wow! Oh my gosh, the color on this is amazing. So. Here we go.
Here's two beautiful maples. This one here is is a golden full moon, and it has the most beautiful sort of golden floating foliage. But I've been the whole time that we've been doing this, I've been looking at this one here, and this is one of my favourites, and it was right behind the camera, so it kept on distracting me all the time.
Could you just rotate that around?
Yeah.
That's it. A little bit more. Yeah, look at that.
Yeah. Now I think this one here is out of this world, and what it is, it's a variegated one, and it's a two-tone soft pink and sort of deep purpley colour. And it's called Hanamatoi, and I think this is absolutely out of this world. It's just the most fabulous Japanese maple.
Yeah, it's so striking with it's almost like, you know, when you see someone who's got tips through their hair, it's like somebody's got pink tips through, like, well, it's like the plant has got pink tips, I should say.
Yeah, and it's nice how it sort of intensifies, the pinkness intensifies in certain parts of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
fabulous.
And it's a funny thing. The whole time I've been talking today. This has been distracting me because it's been right behind the camera.
All right, so moving on now, J Dubs. We do definitely get through more than 10% of the questions. So we're just a bit slow to get through them because we want to make sure we give as much information as possible. Now, J Dubs has asked, what plants are good around a pool where chlorinated water might splash them?
Right, what you want is a hard, glossy leaf. And something like Chinese star jasmine, Asiatic jasmine, Indian hawthorn, all of those have got hard, glossy leaves and likely to take a bit of that chlorine.
Yep. And how about the tiger grass?
I think that's excellent around the pool, and that's also a nice tall plant that kids can't climb, so it's not a danger for having beside the pool.
So tiger grass is one of those things that will give you very tropical feels without having bamboo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lovely and lush and leafy and tropical looking.
All right. So we're running out on time. So what I'll do is I'll quickly blast through. How many questions? Give me a number.
4.5.
4.5 questions. Okay. Let me see. So Kiwi Girl has asked, and by the way, Kiwi Girl thank you, Kiwi Girl. You've let us know that you're located in Geelong, Victoria. Can Grace Ward flower grow in soil on top of clay? And she really wants it as a ground cover.
Grace Wood is quite hardy, and what I would do is I would break up the clay and mix some nice potting mix or compost, or potting mix and compost through the top, say 20 centimetres of that clay, mix that through and plant it there, water and fertilise it well, and it'd be no problem at all.
Beautiful. Okay, Mykonos 59. has said, I also have a small courtyard for our cats. What type of evergreen small bushes / trees could be safe and suitable for morning sun, but no flowering plants because their cats have been stung by bees?
Right, okay.
I was going to say Nepeta or cat mint.
Nandinas.
Nandina, yeah.
Nandinas, no flowers at all. And that's not your common Nandina, but your dwarf Nandina or your moon bay Nandina. And actually, I really should have, something I missed on just before, your grey sward, you could Google and look at that. It's and we've got a video on YouTube about grey sward, but what it is, it's a beautiful ground cover with a dark green, glossy kind of a foliage. And in springtime, it's just a sea of the richest sort of sapphire blue flowers. Really amazing.
Yeah.
And when I've done videos on it, it's been very, very successful. People love it. So grey sward, a really beautiful ground cover, and I can see why you want to grow it down in Geelong.
Okay.
So anyway, I just thought I'd better say what grey sward is, so it's not just something that just floats in the air.
All right, quick fire question. How far apart should I plant coastal rosemary?
Coastal rosemary, if I was doing a hedge, I would put 2 to the metre.
Yep.
And if I want to enjoy them as a nice round bush, I'd probably put them 1.5 metres apart so that they could grow and not touch each other.
All right.
Yeah.
And this is the last one because it's a twofer.
We're doing a 4.5 though.
Yeah, well, I've given you 1.5 questions here.
Okay.
Hey, if I pinch off my male pumpkin flowers, will it push to grow more female flowers?
I reckon it would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. And okay, all right, I'll give you one more question. Somebody on TikTok has just asked, how can I have a garden with clay soil? Oh my God, celebrate your clay soil. You've got more minerals than anybody else.
Yeah, look, clay soil causes you problems, but clay soil is a great base. It's a great starting point. And I remember one time I went to a garden where everything had died, you know, and it had been an awful wet spring, and the lady had planted things straight into horrible thick clay. It was out in Roeville, and her whole garden was a disaster. And she was complaining to me and saying it was really terrible and the clay was no good and it was a terrible disaster. And I looked across the road and I saw an old Italian working away in his garden, and his garden was a beautiful picture. And I went over there and he was turning over his clay and mixing in compost. He was actually there doing it while I was there. And it really showed, like, this was just across the road from a complete garden wipeout. And this guy had roses and perennials and he had fruit trees, he had everything growing beautifully. And he turned over his clay and mixed in compost and he worked on his soil, and his garden was absolutely fabulous, you know, within 20 metres of a disaster.
Yeah. Okay, and now that's brought us to the end of our questions for today. But I do want to remind everybody that at 12 p.m. this Friday, we've got our Growers Direct flash sale.
That's right, Grower Direct flash sale, yeah.
Yes.
And what happens is I take you through 100 fabulous garden specials. We've gone out to the growers, we've got some special deals, and there's 100 of them, and we're going to take you through them, and you're going to love it.
Fantastic. All right, guys, well, we look forward to seeing you again. Thanks for all your questions today. It's been brilliant. And we look forward to seeing you again at 12 o'clock Friday.
Great, thanks.
Bye-bye.